You are early. Welcome to the party, ticky tock. Tickety tock, tickety tock. Oh, we're live on everything? Okay. And, and welcome back to another podcast. Yes, it's been 2 weeks and 1 day, and that's okay. We're still going to stay. That's all the rhyming I got. But yes, we are back with another podcast. We're coming at you live here from Nashville, Tennessee. Once again, Tim is not available to be with us. He is getting his wisdom teeth replaced with high-tech wisdom teeth, whatever you do with wisdom teeth. But What is that noise I hear off stage? What is that noise I hear? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We apologize for being, it's been 2 weeks, 1 day. A week ago was Tim's fault. Yesterday was my fault. But we're here now. And none of you checked in. None of you checked on our health. We do have the buddy system. There's Tim and I. But what if we both died at the same time? What if we were both sprinting toward each other and hit each other on the head and knocked each other's self out? Who is there to make sure we're okay? The buddy system then does not apply. There is no buddy system when both buddies are gone. So there's that in the whole buddy system thing, there's that issue that somebody really needs to we probably should take some tax dollars and figure that one out. That would be a good study. But yeah, it's a bummer about Tim. It's a bummer. Whoa, what?
Making up stories again.
I know.
Making up stories. Well, we're not on Instagram today.
What? Oh, you can't wear the glasses because I'm wearing the glasses?
No.
It's like we're both wearing the same dress or something. Only one of us can wear the glasses. Do I look intelligent? How do you see through these things? Everything is blurry. Put your glasses on. We got to look like distinguished gentlemen. Yes, distinguished gentlemen.
Welcome to the No Sugar, No Cream podcast.
Is there a person? I can't even see it right. Is there a black person? We have like many people on TikTok, and the numbers are crazy on TikTok, but they're nowhere near that on YouTube. It's just insane how TikTok, the numbers just go up so quickly. But there is a sketch guy doing a sketch. The name is Chit. If anybody has heard Chit, hit us up on leave a message. But
if you haven't found him, he's just so hilarious. It's basically kind of a takeoff on The Office.
Mm-hmm.
A live documentary kind of thing, but it's just probably using an iPhone camera. I mean, it's just anybody can do that, and it's just they're in a room that kind of looks like a group office, the three of them, and the one character is an affected character. What are you doing?
I'm trying to pull it up. And
you can't pull it up. This is you can't show it.
I'm just looking. I'm not going to play it. I'm just looking at his name.
Yeah, is there a black person?
That's what it all started with.
Is there a black person here?
Room and he says,
and there's a black lady working in that room.
But he's saying, "Is there a black purse in here?" And she's,
"Is there a black person here?"
She's thinking he's saying black person in here. No,
there's also a white person in here. Oh, I don't need one of those. And she gets all upset.
But his name is Jay Renshaw. So he's on TikTok. He's already over 1 million, and they're doing an episode every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and they're anywhere from less than a minute to a few minutes, and they've just, man, it's just the facial expression he makes, and then I didn't realize what it was with the hair, until they did
think
the
he's
whole
wearing
skit where
must
they
be
cut his hair. And it is part of the thing is, he's definitely here wearing it. Well, yeah.
he's wearing a
But
wig, yeah.
he's showing so much of his forehead is what makes it so
And
funny.
he's got a
then
goofy mustache, and then he kind of sticks his chin out. He's like,
and then when he gets flustered trying to do something or trying to quickly do it, he's trying to light a candle and he's trying to quickly do it. So he's going,
all right, back to it then.
And then the best line has been that he wrote in one of the ladies'
A birthday card.
Do it, lady.
And the other coworkers are like, what does that even mean? That doesn't mean anything. He goes, do it, lady.
Do it, lady.
And now it pops up in about every episode. The phrase just pops up.
About toward the end of the video, the first time I watched it, I'm like, yeah, do it, lady. That sounds good. That's like positive. Like, I think women will like that. Do it, lady. So it's already turning up in like cards. Do it, lady. We haven't given cards for their birthday.
So, I mean, we live there's a lot of negative things about living in 2025, but this is one of the positive things that there are no gatekeepers when it comes to entertainment. I mean, if you have an iPhone camera and you have some friends that want to work with you, because, I mean, there's other people in these skits, and you have some ideas, and you just have a room that you can set up. It looks like an office. I mean, it's messy. I mean, it's got stuff stored, and it's definitely not, a pristine stage. And just doing a takeoff on The Office, and you can just blow up because it is genuinely funny. You don't have to do auditions. You don't have to have any producers say, well, I don't think that'd be funny.
Well, nobody telling pretty well produced. They're all professional actors.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're all professional actors.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, videos have been coming out about them, and they're all working actors. And but they go for that look where it's like basically one of the characters is the camera person, and he's talking behind the camera and everything. So you definitely have that feel of like Office and of like it not being, but you wouldn't think, because you wouldn't think that, and that's what they're going for. But I mean, the acting is amazing, and his character is just so silly looking.
Chit, that's not his real personality. You don't think he's really like that in real life? All right, then. Get back to it then. Casual. There, he's talking about Casual Fridays, and they're showing him, and he's saying, "Chit, the guy behind the camera is interviewing him. Are you comfortable? I wish we could do this every day. And Casual Friday. Oh, you love Casual Friday? Yeah. I feel very comfortable. And he's talking to his other coworker who's wearing a T-shirt. How do you like it? And then the camera pulls back, and he's sitting in his chair. He's wearing a like a polo shirt, but he's just wearing underwear, no pants, just underwear for Casual Friday. Whitey tighties for Casual Friday, and that's the reveal. That's the punchline, I guess, the visual punchline of the clip, and just funny stuff. So if you haven't experienced it and you like to laugh, and he plays on, like the black person here. The black lady thinks, she gets offended and then she realizes that he's looking, and then there's a purse there, a black purse, and he pulls it up and he says, "Here it is, success." And they realize he was looking for a black purse. So anyway, why Seth, we need an explanation why we missed for 2 weeks and 1 day. What happened?
Scrabble. Family Scrabble. Yeah,
we made up, Seth and I, now. So now we're going to try to continue. Hopefully.
No, we were well, I mean, the first week, missed the first week.
No, yeah, honestly, and I should have posted the no podcast last week, and my apologies for that. If anybody was on here waiting for us, I sincerely apologize. I had such an intense week last week. I had two things that were coming up. I had my pre-sale on my Born in South Dakota CD. I had to get out a lot of orders. I mean, there were boxes and boxes of package that I had to ship out on Tuesday and Wednesday. And I mean, I had to take 2 trips to the post office because I couldn't get them all into my car in one trip. That's the truth. So And then also I had my concert Friday night in Madison, Indiana, my album release party that I was preparing for and rehearsing and making sure all my gear was ready. And there's a lot, and so Seth said, "Hey, podcast today." And I said, "Oh, I just can't even fathom it. I'm so focused on getting these things, which had deadlines to them. I had to get those things done. Well, obviously the event had to happen. And so I said, I just can't, I don't have the energy for it. And that's why we didn't do it last week. So we'll try not to miss, but I think this is number 49. This is number 49 that we're actually doing. So next one will be 50. That's a big number. That's a big anniversary. I think we should get a cake or something.
Do it, lady. Do it, lady.
So, and why we missed yesterday, well, that's on somebody else. That's not on me.
So the Chit is for they're all professional actors. On top of that, the Groundlings, which is in LA, and it's well known for a lot of people came out of there, and it's that's like a sketch comedy troupe and a school based in Los Angeles. So that's probably one of the best ways to I think anybody. I mean, it's still reasonably priced. You could go start taking classes there.
When are you heading out?
Just as soon as you pack your bags, Tim. Just put those bags on, and here comes Chit number 2. Chit number 2, the nervous guy. Hi guys, I'm Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Is that name taken, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? It sounds original. Oh goodness, I hope it's not taken. Oh, it's taken, isn't it?
As a character name, I'm not sure. As a train name, yes, but as a character name, it could be
not a train. It's the flying car. From
it's a flying car. Okay, I thought it was a train.
Hey, maybe they got to remake it. They can't. They don't want to remake anything unless it has a remake Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and have it be a train, a flying train. There we go. Which already has been done, I guess. What, there wasn't a train flying on Back to the Future 3? I believe so. I do believe so. It was 2 or 3. Did you? Well, I was just about to say something and I forgot. Oh, that's the first time that's ever happened.
So why did we miss yesterday? Or are we just not going to discuss it?
I think foosball. I had a foosball tournament.
Foosball tournament, yeah. Foosball tournament.
In my dreams. I didn't set an alarm, and I was
sleeping.
I was do it, lady. Do it, lady. I was sleeping away. I had an alarm set today. I was good to go. Got my monster. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's taken. Do you know the scare? Did you remember watching Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
No.
Oh man, classic. I mean, you got
no. I never have seen that.
Classic movie.
When I was a kid, I had to work. I couldn't enjoy frivolities like that.
I'm sorry. What like that?
Frivolities.
Frivolities. Say that 3 times fast. Frivolities.
I was driving a tractor before I started first grade. No time for nonsense like
I'm pretty
flying
sure you
cars.
just wrapped the umbilical cord around the wheel and got going. I got it, Pops.
That was how I had to drive, basically. Exactly like that. Looking underneath the steering wheel. When I drove the car, I would look just underneath, they used to have big steering wheels because it didn't have power steering. And so the big steering wheel, bigger than now, and I would look underneath the top of the steering wheel in the spoke or just over the dash so I could drive. I couldn't look over
just
the
like the
wheel.
old granny, her she once was over 5 foot. Now she's under 5 foot. And she's Shimmy. Is this the Kroger? I got my coupons.
So anyway, the concert went amazingly well. and the funniest man in Nashville was there, running the merch table, and did a great job. And
I was there. I was like, "How much you like the CD?"
and it just went really well. And excited about the next one. I'm got one scheduled in Louisville on the 10th of August.
It's free for $10. Take it on my hand. If you take it on my hand, you can have it. No, I didn't. I did a great job. I did a great.
You did a great job. Yeah. So,
Your next one is
August 10th
August 10th. Okay.
in Stevie Ray's in Louisville.
Excellent, eh? Yeah, it went without a hitch or a hiccup. Hitch. Yep, it was a good time.
And recorded it. And I haven't gotten the stems yet. Sean, where are you? He keeps promising to send them. And I'm hoping to release. I also had a videographer there. So I'm still formulating my plans. I'm going to release it as a live album.
Yeah, your camera guy was shooting a 4K movie is what he was doing.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, it's quite. I've looked at the
doing all kinds of angles and stuff. It was great.
He had 2 stationary cameras, and plus he had the gimbal. And he's very talented, very, very good at what he does. I haven't seen the footage yet, but so it might be turned into a DVD that I could make available. I'm not sure yet. Full concert DVD, 15 songs. And so the audio and the video.
We haven't seen the footage yet, so hopefully he pushed record.
Exactly.
Isn't that crazy? All that, I mean, it happens all the time. All you can do is look like you're doing all this work hardcore, but if you don't just do one little thing and push record, there's nothing there.
And if we don't get the stems, I mean, there'll be no audio, so it won't make any sense. So we're going to have to get the stems, which is all the individual tracks, and then I'll send them to my producer, Kenny, who was there and played and sang. Played sax, guitar, and sang backup vocals. Did a great job, and he was there with his wife. And so when I get the stems, I'll send them off to him, and he'll start mixing that. And hopefully my idea would be maybe release the album later this year. I got so much music coming out. I was thinking about it today. I said, am I putting out too much music? Because I just put out this album that dropped on Friday. What is today? Wednesday. So, like 5 days ago, dropped. And have another one going to drop, hopefully, if we get it completed in time. It'd be the 8th of August. That's why that concert is for. And it's another one. It's called Down and Under. And that's another complete album, 11 songs that'll be dropping in August. So, and then the live album. So if all of those get released, I will have at least 3 albums released this year. That's a lot of albums to release in 1 year. So that's where it's at.
Yeah, you could do clips too with all that, with all your big production. With all
well, that's
videos.
what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that the quality of the clips will be higher than just putting my phone on a tripod and lip syncing to an already produced song, which is most what most artists do. This is actual footage of live performance, so that's a different animal. And so, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of money. Videographers aren't free, and then the real money is going to be in the guy who's going to edit it, because they do color correction, and that's the expensive part.
It's free if you cancel the check.
So it's not inexpensive. So that's why I was thinking about maybe making it. I mean, I could upload it to YouTube, of course, just upload the full length video, but the amount of money I'm going to have into this is going to be thousands of dollars into the video alone, because I know.
Well, you can always do that at some point down the road if you wanted to, but sell it for a while first.
So DVDs. I mean, I know another artist, Rockstar. Shout out to Cole. He's a classic rock. You can find him on Instagram, Rocket Star, or is it Rock Star? And then the star is STA with the 2 dots above it, STAHR, Rock Star. His name is Cole, and he spent 13 years writing this double album, kind of like a themed, kind of like a Tommy thing from Who. And he's very much steeped in 70s classic rock. And he paints his face when he's in character. Like he's got his own character that he paints his face, kind of like the Kiss did. I don't recognize it when he's painted up. And he wrote all the music, recorded all the instruments, and mixed it himself, which, I mean, I've tried mixing, but I'm not as good as the pros, so I've given that up for the most part. And on top of that, he had never done any animation in his life, and he figured out by YouTube videos and whatever else how to animate. And it took him 7 years to animate a full-length movie that goes with the songs. And he's got animated characters singing the songs. And the main character, I think, is a guitar player with 4 arms. And Death of a Rock Star is what the name of the album is called. And he was selling the DVDs. And I know because we were in the same coaching program. And he was selling a ton of them. They were jumping on the shelves. And he said his audience base was a lot of teenagers, 18 to 25. So there's a market for that. I mean, I get comments every day on I'm selling CDs, free plus shipping. You pay the shipping and you get the CD for free is my opening offer. And people say, oh, nobody has CDs anymore, but they're selling. Somebody's buying them. You can say the same thing. Nobody has DVDs anymore, but somebody bought. Kids, young people were buying his DVDs, falling off the shelves. So that's kind of giving the idea there might be a market.
Yes, stuff's getting a little bit of a comeback. Even cassettes,
yeah,
and of course the big collectible thing is the records, vinyl, and then and when you look, VHSs are becoming valuable, and people are getting into those, which is kind of because you can find stuff that isn't even on DVD. There's lots of movies, which is crazy to think about. There's lots of movies that aren't even on Netflix and all that streaming services. Yeah, but still, there's something too about that. I mean, when it comes down to it, and you don't have like Wi-Fi goes out or whatever, or you're in the middle of nowhere, there's something about having a DVD or something. I do like that. I remember
I have a VHS of a movie that, now when we grew up all the way through high school, we didn't have a TV. My parents were very strict, conservative Christian household people, and we were working all the time, so we didn't even have a TV. And my younger sister, told me that she remembers the first time we got a TV was the Christmas after I had graduated high school and was in college. I'm like, man, he waited till then. But I would go to my aunt's house and watch TV, black and white, of course, little tiny screen. And I remember there was a movie that played, and it was about beach surf culture in California. And it had the leading actor, I don't remember his name, but the young woman who, the Manson murderers, there was a very famous young actress who was married to the producer who fled to France, and the names are escaping me. But she was killed. She was the most famous person, young, beautiful actress, and was killed in the Manson murders, which I think was 1969. Anyway, one of her last movies was this kind of a B movie, I guess, if you will. It had a lot of California things. It had a bodybuilders on the beach. It had a mudslide. The houses were sliding down into the ocean in the climactic scene because there was too much rain, and it was a mudslide. A lot of the things that have happened. And I remember the first scene, the leading character had a VW Bug, and he had a surfboard on the top, and he ran out of gas, and he was stranded on the road on the way to LA. Anyway, as a young boy, I don't know how old I was, I remember seeing that movie, and I was so, but that young lady, need to look up her name. who's the woman who got shot who got killed in the Manson murders. She was so beautiful, and I was just becoming a teenager, I think, and I was like, wow, I felt attraction for a woman, and it was on a little black and white screen. And I remember that movie stuck in my head. I never saw it since, and I kept looking for it, and I finally found a VHS of it a few years ago, and I ordered it online.
Sharon Tate?
Sharon Tate was in this movie.
It was
And
August 9th, 69.
69, she was killed. One of her last roles. And I still have the VHS of that. I mean, it was actually, it has, I think, 2 other movies on it from that era, because apparently it wasn't a big hit. And who are the actors in that? Oh, no.
She's only 26.
What was the name of the movie she was in?
Valley of the Dolls.
No.
Don't Make Waves.
Might have been that one, but Don't Make Waves. Don't Make Waves. That was the one. I think that was it. Don't Make Waves was the movie. And it was on TV. It was on like when there were only 3 channels. Not cable. We're talking about ABC, CBS, NBC. That's all we got. We had just an antenna. And it was on one of those, and with commercials and everything. And Don't Make Waves. Yeah, it was on TV. So it must have not been that poorly reviewed, because they put it on TV. Anyway, I got a copy of it somewhere in a box. I think I still have that tape. I don't think you could stream that anywhere if you wanted to.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's a good example of something you probably can't stream. And a lot of older stuff. I feel like anything, even a lot of stuff in the 90s, man, once you start going back, there's a lot of stuff, especially before the 80s, that you can't stream anywhere. And then there's a good amount of stuff that they don't stream. And a lot of times, like when there's a movie that we're thinking of, we can find it, but it's not a movie that's on streaming. And it's popular enough to still sell for $5 or whatever. There's enough people.
Yeah. Like one that what we were talking about, something came across and we got talking about Sting. Oh, we were watching a show. We were watching My Friends and Neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And in My Friends and Neighbors was a series on which channel is it on? I don't. You always find them, and I don't know
Max
which one. Which is so many streaming channels. It's our new favorite. We're obsessed with it. It's over now. The first season is over. They're coming back with the second one.
Yeah.
Anyway, in one of the scenes, the lead character,
or is it Apple Plus?
John, what's his name? John Hamm.
John Hamm.
Yeah, was watching an old movie. And I recognized it immediately because it had Paul Newman and Robert Redford, and they were doing this with their and I recognized it immediately because my best friend and I, Bob and I, we watched that when it came out. It was in movies. It was called The Sting, and they were doing a long con on this guy, and it's got a lot of twists and turns. It won Best Picture. So it's a great film. Robert Redford. Paul Newman. Actually, it kind of rejuvenated Paul Newman's brand or his career a little bit. And the main characters, their thing was when everything's going right, they would just do this signal. And I remember that's what my friend and I would do. And I remember I was a wrestler, and I remember I was wrestling for the regional championship. And I was wrestling with a guy who had beat me the previous week in the sectional, in the districts. And I was out on the mat for the championship round Saturday night, and my buddy was sitting mat side with a camera taking pictures. And I remember I looked over at him and I did that while I was standing on the mat waiting for the match to start. And he told me later he was so shocked that I did that I wasn't thinking about the match. And I did win the match. But anyway, when I saw that I remembered The Sting, and Seth hadn't seen it, and I haven't seen it since it was in theaters, and I would like to see it again. And so we looked it up, and you can find it, but you got to pay $5, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing about that, of course, it had 2 iconic actors, Paul Newman and Robert Redford, but it also had music from Scott Jolson, what was the music? It was Two-Time Rag. It made him music from the 20s. The music was. Forgot the name of it, but it became so popular. This music 50 years later, it was in the 20s, and the movie came out in the 70s, and that was the theme throughout the song. I think it was Scott Jolson, Two-Time Rag, Ragtime. Rag is two 4-time. That's why I'm saying 2-time. And it's Rag. I think Scott Jolson was the artist, and The Entertainer. Yeah, The Entertainer was the name of the song, and suddenly The Entertainer, that 50-year-old song, was everywhere because it just everybody got interested in it because a certain type of music. It's very upbeat. It's very energy, and that was a result of it being used in that movie, which now itself is over 50 years old. So, Ragtime, The Entertainer, is 100 years old now. So time goes on. Time goes on. So we were going to watch Sting, or The Sting, I think it's called. And iconic movie. Iconic. Had a big, the bad guy was a big name as well. I can't remember his name. The actor that played it. Just won Best Picture. I mean, there's only only one picture wins Best Picture each year. And so it was judged the Best Picture of the year. And it won a bunch of other awards as well. Just a classic, great movie, and we're gonna watch that one of these days when we're
you introduced me to a couple movies I haven't watched because I mean before a lot of the 90s and before the 90s there's still plenty of movies I haven't seen. We watched a few different gangster movies like Casino and stuff that I really enjoyed. And then the dude, what is
The Big Lebowski?
Big Lebowski. I'd never seen that. Really enjoyed that. There's a whole slew of actors I knew. The Dude Abides. But there's still. How was the movie last night? I saw that you finished it.
Oh, it was good.
Yeah,
good.
it was a little slow for me. I was a little slow. But I know you're a big fan of his, and I mean,
De Niro played two parts. He played
yeah.
two characters. And
what was it? Do you remember the name of it?
It was called the Alto something. It was named after a club that they used to frequent, the Alto something.
Based on a true story, I think, right?
Yeah, based on a true story. I would have to look up to see how close they did it to the real story. Frank Costello was the main character, and then the other character, they were childhood friends, and they kind of got at odds in gangster in the 50s, gangster stuff, and sucker for gangster stuff.
De Niro is just getting better and better with age. He's
phenomenal. He's phenomenal. I love De Niro. Great actor. And
the crazy part is just looking at one of the movies. Just, even though I mean, it was slow, but I was just took a note of his acting. I'm like, man, you could just, even though there's good actors around him, his acting is just on another level. Just the way he just talks like none of it's scripted at all. Like it's just all rolling off the tongue so naturally. He's amazing.
Well, you're preaching to the choir here. I'm a big De Niro fan, So, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? So many great lines. I mean, I think he's won 2. I don't think he's won 3. I think he won 2 Academy Awards. Nicholson has won 3. I think De Niro's only won 2.
I mean, you about showed me all his. Is there any movies that I'm missing of his as far
Raging
as
Bull? That's where he won 1. Did you see Raging Bull?
I haven't seen Raging Bull.
Yeah, he won for that. And then he played some of his great iconic roles, The Deer Hunter. Well, I mean, after Vietnam, so the horrible story of Vietnam, which everyone knows.
81,
and
he's 81.
There's a movie I want to see that I haven't seen yet that I'm pretty sure he's in it.
Taxi Driver, that's one of his originals, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Are you talking to me? That's where he ad-libbed that line. He ad-libbed that line. He was a serial killer, and it had a 13-year-old Jodie Foster. In it. Yeah. She played a 13-year-old prostitute. Big start of her career. Anyway, The Deer Hunter. So Vietnam, we go over to Vietnam, and our men are coming back our young men are coming back in body bags, and a lot of political posturing around it, and we didn't want to lose that war, so we step up. Nixon steps it up, and we do the bombing. And apparently, based on what I heard, that they actually had a truce where they were going to agree to separate into North and South Vietnam, just like Korea had been like 10 years earlier. Korea ended in a truce. And it had been worked out, 73, whatever. And then, of course, or 72, whatever year it was, 72, 73. And then Nixon got caught with Watergate. And he had won the presidency, but he got caught spying on the Democrats. And he didn't need to because he was going to win anyway. And of course, that was just a horrible stain on our country in the 70s. Everybody was depressed in the 70s. And, nobody wanted to think about the Vietnam War. And so from the time until 72, 73, until 75, when we finally pulled out, the North Vietnamese finally realized that, now it's the Democrats in power. The Republicans aren't in power, and they don't have a stomach for this. And it's a different. So they said, no, we're not going to agree to the truce. We want it all. And then Saigon fell, of course. And of course, you've seen the videos of the helicopters taking off from the embassy, which was the last hold, which is people were broaching the walls of the embassy, and the choppers were taken off, and the Vietnamese, the South Vietnamese that had helped us and didn't want to be, because they knew they'd face a horrible future with the North Vietnamese. But we'd left them behind, and they're hanging on to the runners of the helicopter as the helicopters are pulling off, because they don't want to be left behind, but we're not taking them with us. It was just a really bad place. And so a lot of people didn't want to talk about the Vietnam War, and nobody made any movies about it. And it was like, it's too soon. And finally, well, it wasn't too many years, and 2 movies were made about it about the same time. Apocalypse Now, which was a really bizarre movie. And that's where I love the smell of napalm in the morning. One of the really gung-ho sergeants was, napalm is poisonous gas, you're poisoning the people from a chopper. You're dropping it below, and your people that that poison them. And I love the smell of napalm in the morning. It was just some people were really gung ho for war, and then you had The Deer Hunter, which was really a look at how it affected people, and it had De Niro, and it had Christopher Walken. And it had, she's been nominated more than times than anyone else. What's her name? Actress. She's been nominated like 20 times.
Meryl
Streep. She was in it. So a lot of big names. And it was just a look at how a group of guys from a coal mining town in Pennsylvania, working class, go over to Vietnam and have their lives upended, And of course, it had the famous scene of the Russian roulette, which really there's no evidence that actually occurred, where captors forced the captives to play Russian roulette. Take a revolver, put one gun in it. You have 1 out of 6, put it to your head and shoot and pull the trigger. And that was in the movie, but there's no evidence that actually happened in Vietnam. But it made for a great movie because it's a very iconic scene. And
your story,
I played to the scene. And then there's another movie. So The Deer Hunter, there was a young director, a different era of probably the end of a certain era. Italian guy directed The Deer Hunter. Could you find that name?
The guy that directed Deer Hunter?
Deer Hunter, yes. Starts with a C. I've forgotten his an Italian name. He was a young director, quite young, because back then, I think he was in his early 30s, and it was quite unusual for a director to be that young and at a major motion picture. But he made The Deer Hunter, and it was his vision, and it became, I think it won Best Picture. Just highly, highly revered movie. And so his next movie, he said, I want complete control. I don't want any budgets. I don't want anything. And he made this meandering, I haven't seen it yet, but Heaven's Gates, it was called.
Michael Cimino.
Yes, Camino. Michael.
No, yeah, director.
Yeah,
And wrote it.
yeah.
Along with other people.
And then what was his next movie? The Heaven's Gates, which was the end of his career, and it was like triple over budget, and it never got released.
He passed 2016.
He didn't pass that long ago, but he lived with a broken heart because his masterpiece was never appreciated, never even released.
Never released, period. Never,
I don't believe so. Is there anything about Heaven's Gate? It was a joke.
There's a trailer for it.
There's I want to watch it. Apparently they say it
3 hours, 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's very long and it's going to be slow, but I said the cinematography is second to none. It's the cinematography is apparently amazing. And
it looks like you can watch it on Tubi, and
we should watch that because I've been wanting to see that for a long time because it broke his heart. He never I don't know if he ever made another movie, and he was only like not even 40 yet. Michael, I think you pronounce it right. Camino? That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I would definitely say
starts with a C. Michael starts with a C. I remember it started with a C.
Yeah, Cimino.
Cimi. Samino.
Camino.
Samino. Michael Samino. He kind of died with a broken heart. And another guy who also similar, although it wasn't a Vietnam movie.
And Christopher Walken's also in that.
Yeah. Oh, he's also in Heaven's Gates? Wow. Is De Niro in Heaven's Gates?
No, it didn't look like it.
I think it had someone else like Hoffman, or maybe it had another big name.
He directed Year the Dragon.
Did he do anything after that? Not really.
To Each His Own Cinema, 2007.
But anyway, that was the end of the director era, when the director was the absolute like dictator on set. That broke it. And after that,
the Sicilian, 87.
You know, he continued to make stuff, but he didn't have
nothing as big. Yeah,
nothing as big. He was under tight control by the
Desperate Hours. That's something else he did, but nothing big. Yeah, only a 5.4.
And then another one that I'm thinking of is who did The Shining? That director, British American. No,
this movie, which is
no, I'm sorry, I'm confusing.
Sun Chaser. Woody Harrelson movie.
I'm thinking of another one. Okay, so Sergio Leone. Sergio Leone.
So, that's another movie that he did. That director.
Michael Cimino did. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Sergio Leone, who did all of the spaghetti westerns, and the Fistful of Dollars, I think, was one. There's a trilogy that he did. One of them was Fistful of Dollars, and of course the grand finale, the phenomenal, incredible movie, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. If you've not seen The Good, the Bad, the Ugly,
no,
that has to be at the top of the list.
Okay. We should start making a list. We should start making a list.
The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
There's a couple I need to watch for you too. I still got to play The Village.
You know, just phenomenal. And of course, Eastwood was in it. Clint Eastwood was in it. And Sergio Leone was an Italian, and they would film these westerns, spaghetti westerns, in Italy because they were cheaper. And then he wanted to make a gangster movie, and he made it like a 3-hour movie. And I have it on DVD somewhere still. Not DVD, no, it's VHS. I have it on VHS. It's like it's two VHSs. That's how long it is.
Do you have a bunch of DVDs and stuff somewhere?
I still have them. I was going to throw them away, but I didn't.
No, don't. Let's keep those. Yeah.
And I got VHSs too. I think I was going to throw them away. And I did throw away some of them.
Yeah, they're saying VHSs are, a lot of the VHS are turning into some big money now.
Anyhow, so it was called Once Upon a Time in America. Sergio Leone made this gangster movie, and it had De Niro in it, and it had I can't think of his name, the opposing guy. I'll think of it after the podcast.
Do it, lady. All right.
And it was not well received, and Sergio Leone was heartbroken. and he never made another movie. Never made another movie. Once Upon a Time in America.
Once Upon a Time. Oh, yeah, I saw that on there. Yeah.
For Sergio Leone. Did you look for Sergio Leone, or you look?
Yeah, it was on. Or who was I looking at? De Niro.
De Niro was in that.
De Niro was on. Yeah. Yeah, I was talking about the Groundlings. A whole slew of people were part of a lot of SNL people went on from the Groundlings, which is because even though
you're talking about that's where Chit's from. Back to that.
Yeah, the whole crew.
We're away from serious, heavy movie fare back to comedy. Let's lighten it up. Let's make it fun.
Let's lighten it up. Let's we start talking about war and stuff, and I got a little nervous. I peed myself a little, but we're okay. We're okay. We got all our body parts. No children were harmed in the making of this podcast. We're doing okay, guys. We're doing okay. I'm really proud of us. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. We're here, and here we are here to stay, guys. We will try not to miss another week. We do our best. We do our best here at No Sugar, No Cream. But yeah, I was just gonna mention a couple people. I mean, remember that actor that was murdered in the 90s by his wife? He was from the Groundlings, and he was on
Phil something.
Yep, Phil something. Yep, that's him. You're doing great. You're doing as good as I would do.
Phil something.
But and then he came up because he was part of Wee Herman's Playhouse, that whole thing, and that was Groundlings. That was part of Groundlings back in the day. And then
wow.
And then he came out of that, and he was a big part of the production for that. And they kind of had a falling out. But I just watched the documentary that was really good about Pee Wee Herman and that character that he made, and it's a really interesting story. But man, he just passed away.
I know, yeah,
last year, and he was just like finishing up, the whole documentary and stuff. He was a big part of it. Somebody else produced it, but he had his hands really in it. But it was very intriguing that, him coming up with a character, a person that's so far from yourself in a way, but yet has parts of your personality that you aren't able to share in your real life in a way, was part of him. Him being, it's interesting. Like, for the most part, his entire life, he was a closet homosexual, but you see that character and he's very flamboyant. And so in a way, part of who he was where he wasn't able to kind of be outspoken. He chose not to be, let that be part of his life. But you look at that character, it kind of seems very gay in a way, just how that character is, parts of it. But he was very in the closet his whole life. And he basically, even though everybody knew it, he came out during the documentary, like after he had passed away. Which is it was crazy, but that character was just so unique. And he turned it into, which was very much an adult thing, but he turned it into a kid's thing, and it made a movie out of it. But that was just like a play you went to, you saw these characters, and then it turned into it always kind of creeped me out. I was never into Pee Wee's Playhouse. It was a little bit too silly.
I remember when it came out, I was traveling a lot for business. I was a traveling salesperson. And I remember I went to, this was before smartphones and all that, you could take a video and everything. Mm-hmm. And I was in San Antonio, and I had a break. I'd finished my calls, and I was able to go to the Alamo. And I found the nearest phone. There was a payphone across the street. And I called my friend, Ruthie, still friends with her on Facebook. And I called her and I said, "Hey, Ruthie, there's no basement in the Alamo," which was a line from the movie that he made. That was, everyone was quoting it. I don't know. I don't even remember why. I just remember that was a line. There's no basement in the Alamo.
And you probably don't know where that. Do you even know where it mixed in?
No, I don't. I don't. I just know the line. And so just to be funny, I called my friend and I said, I'm in San Antonio at the Alamo, and there's no basement in the Alamo.
I think the main thing I think about when I think of him is just his laugh. He just had this very insane laugh. And then, of course, I think about Chit and that character. And then his whole, he goes to, I keep on doing it. He goes to light a candle. And the lady in the room is like, because they sound so
She's the
creepy.
best.
Oh,
The
she's
black lady, she looks
fantastic.
at the camera with these
She
looks.
looks like oh my gosh, because the first one we see, of course, is there a black person here? Which you see, he's saying, is there a black person here? Which it sounds like, is there a black person in here? And they're just sitting there talking. He's like, is there a black person here? And then he finds it. He's like, oh, black. And then she's starting to get upset. Like, yes, there's a black person in here. But he's saying, is there a black purse? The purse. And she's taking off her earrings. And then,
She's going to fight him.
Yeah.
She's going to fight him.
And he's being as nice as can be. And then she realized, oh, is there a black purse in here?
And then
he even compliments her as he's leaving.
Nice haircut.
Thanks, chat. And just looks at the camera, just like.
And then they have a birthday cake.
That's even better.
It's even better. And she's turned her back to him. She's wearing slacks. And he says, oh, whatever her name
You're
is.
all caked up or something?
No, I
or
said, I
something?
didn't know you had all that cake in there. Oh, you didn't know
You
you
got
had
all that cake on you.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know you had all that cake on you. You know, which could be taken as referring to her figure, of course. And she turns around and she goes, excuse me, which is inappropriate in a workplace, of course. And he says, well, look, you brushed up against the cake. There's some cake frosting on your pants.
She has this big spot of cake on her, which is so funny because it's in a spot where he wouldn't see from where he was. So he let it
excuse me.
And there's literally cake on her. She brushed up against the cake, and they're surprised somebody. What's funny about that spot too, because everything else gets he. How'd you get her to come down here? Oh, I told her that you were going to give her $500. So she's not getting $500. You kind of everything else is like. I mean, he jumps in her face to surprise her, like. So anybody would get punched in the face. You get so close to somebody.
Yeah, I mean, he's very autistic, I would say, not understanding.
Oh, amazing.
And surprising, now we learned today that he's been there for 15 years. How has he kept that job?
This job, yeah, for the character. Yeah.
Because they're saying, hey, Chit, what are you doing? Working on the budget. And then you look at his screen and you can see that he's watching a video or he's playing a video game. Yeah. Working on a budget.
One of the times that he says he's working on a budget, it just says, just the letters.
He's just typing. He's just typing A, B, C, D, E, F, G over and over and over and over and over.
Working on the budget, crunching the numbers. That's the best one. Crunching the numbers.
Back to it then.
Back to it then. Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, you got to check it out.
Well, that's good to know that those are trained. I mean, because they make it seem like they're not trained. But it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good to be that good and make it seem so effortless. They got to be. It makes sense. That
it's trained. The first person. It's the cameraman being one of the people holding the cameraman. That's what it does it for me. Is that the cameraman is a character?
It's kind of the narrating it as well.
Yeah. And then, I mean, he plays a straight up straight man, and then the boss
comes in,
plays somebody that hates his job. Hates his job so bad. I've never seen somebody. He brings in that champagne to give for 15 years. Congratulations for 15 years. The most unenthusiastic gift ever. Yeah, I saw it was 15 years. Congratulations. Appreciate you working for the company. I mean, that's basically how it is. Just nonchalant. And then yeah, Chit talks about how he remembers him coming to work for the company 15 years ago.
Which means that Chit was been there for more than 15 years. How did he keep his job for 15 years? He's just incompetent. Crunching the numbers. Back to it then.
Well, then you see his boss, and it's like his boss doesn't give a crap. He hates his job, so he doesn't care one bit. So That I would say that would be a big part of the reason. The other guy in the room, has he still said a word? I feel like he said in one of the episodes
very
before,
little,
but I can't.
very little. The guy in the corner.
Yeah.
He just. But those things happen. I mean, the bass player in my band, he's retired now, so I can't get in trouble by telling this story. But I won't say his name, so he may not want that revealed. But he works.
Jim.
One of these days, I'm going to guess the name right because I do the same joke every time you do this.
He works for Ford in the plant. And did I tell you this story before? It bears repeating. And Union plant, of course, Ford up in Kentucky. And the cushy job you could ever have would be this quality control on the paint line. And of course you had to have seniority and you had to have points or whatever, the union is it's given based on the seniority and the whatever points you accumulated, maybe you can, and he was going to put in for that job. And all his friends were saying, don't even bother. There's at least 5 guys ahead of you. You're not going to get that job. And he said, I'm going to do it anyway. And he did, and lo and behold, he got it. What happened was at least 2 of the people ahead of him failed their P test for drugs, and another 2 or 3 never entered or something. Anyway, he was 6th in line, but he ended up with a job. And for 20 years, he worked like an hour a day. And Jimmy, my buddy, really good friends with him, would call him and say, "What are you doing, Jim?" We're going to call him Jim.
Jim.
What are you doing, Jim? At work, during work. "Oh, I'm watching a movie." Sitting in the office watching a movie.
Because his work.
Getting paid. And okay, every hour or something, he'd go out and take a look. Okay, paint looks good. Back into the office, do whatever he wants. He could probably brought a guitar and worked on music if he wanted to. Maybe that would have been.
He could have worked a second job.
Could have worked a second job. And he did that for like 20 years. And those jobs exist. That kind of environment does work or does exist in the corporate America.
For a number of different reasons. For one could be that they don't realize how the company doesn't realize how simple that job and that takes up, or they know, and it's something where you're on call and you might have to do like an IT job. Like you could go a full day without not having any issues, but you need to be on call there to
yes, it could have been. I don't know the details of the job,
but there are those jobs where like it goes completely under the radar and you're hardly doing anything and you have so much downtime.
I mean, one of my favorite stories that I think it's a Henry Ford story. It's been told in so many different permutations, but it's the machine, whatever the machine is. One permutation is it's an engine on a big ship, a big huge ship, and the engine stopped working. Or another one is it's an integral part of a machine at a Ford motor plant when Henry Ford was alive. But at this point, it's hard to know where the story originated. But they call in an expert, and he comes in and he looks at the machine. Let's say it's a big motor for a ship, huge, a big engine. He looks at it, listens to it, it doesn't start, and he takes his ball peen hammer out and he taps on one spot, and then it starts up. And then he sends his bill, and it's $10,000. You were only here 5 minutes. How would you charge us $10,000? You better give us an itemized bill. And he said, here's your itemized bill. $5 tapping with the ball peen hammer. $9,995 knowing where to tap.
Yeah.
And there's truth to that. Nobody else could fix it. So it was worth $10,000, but people got upset that it doesn't matter. Like IT, like you said, it doesn't matter. It's not about the time, it's about the job that you do. So that job, maybe in order to do the paint QC, you had to check it, and every hour was the routine. You just go out and make sure everything's okay. if nobody checked it, that would be a bad thing. But their protocol was they checked it every hour, and somebody had to know how to do that. You had to be trained. I'm extrapolating again. But your point is exactly right. It could be an incredibly important job, and that's all it required.
Just your internet being down for 5 minutes could be such for a company. Could be. I mean, you do. So many companies does everything online nowadays. Where and having somebody on call to make sure you get you back online when you're offline for 5 minutes. I mean, that could be a loss of billions of dollars just in 5 minutes.
Yeah. So as long as the internet's up, you're free to watch your movie on your phone.
Yep. Yeah, they're happy to see you watching their movie because
it means the internet is working.
Everything's running perfectly.
Yeah. So, I mean, no negative to Jim. Almost said his real name.
Tracy.
Bob,
is that you there, Bob? Chit, get back to work. Okay. For some reason, I'm a nervous Chit. Like I'm like shit. Well, that's the podcast for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I was scared the entire time. This really isn't my thing. There's people out there watching us, Tim, judging us, looking at us, making choices, picking apart our outfit. You look fabulous, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, nervous Chit. I appreciate it.
Me, I look horrible. I look horrible. I don't know what to do with myself. Is this window open? Can I jump out this window? Unfortunately, I'd live. It's only the second floor. Well, guys, that's the podcast for today. Yeah, it is. We'll see you next time. Please like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook, especially. Share the podcast with your friends. We very much appreciate it. We'll be here not next Wednesday, but next Tuesday. 6 days. Countdown. Make a countdown. It's exciting. We'll be back. We'll be here for you. Saying the things that you don't really need to hear. This isn't life-changing stuff here. In fact, you might get a little depressed after watching us.
No.
Thank you, Tim. Not get depressed, but cheer you up and be like, hey, my life isn't as bad as theirs. We'll see you next time, guys.